Alright, so here we are. We're going to talk about completing the square, but we're doing this one only for graphing. So this is the graphing version, or graphing edition. Let's call it graphing edition. Yay! Okay, so what I want you to do today is you want to be able to use the idea of completing the square to rewrite a quadratic function in standard form to vertex form. So how does completing the square work? Okay, completing the square works like this. You basically take, first off, to do completing the square, you have to have an x squared by itself, as in no number in front of the x squared. So I will show you examples of what happens when you do have a number in front of the x squared. What you do is you take the number in front of the x, and you're going to divide it by 2. Okay? So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay? And the sign of, or positive 8 divided by 2 is positive 4. 4 squared is 16. So by completing this square, getting this number here that completes this square, I can now rewrite this as x plus 4 squared. And y'all should have gone through something a long time ago where, like, if you said x plus 4 squared, that was equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. So you kind of get the idea of that. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples here. So here's another one. And what I'm going to say is this. Notice that this one I'm doing plus one with a positive in front of the x and one with a minus. I always start off by putting parentheses x, close parentheses 2, and I have a space here. Then I take that number that's in front of the x, 6, and divide it by 2. You will always divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, positive. And 3 squared is 9. And if in case you're wondering, right here, that will always be positive. The only thing is, keep the sign the same from here to here. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. So, and that allows us to complete the square. We've now completed the square by putting the 9 and the 25, which allows us to factor it down to this x plus 3 squared or x minus 5 squared. Well, that's all nice and dandy, sir, but what does that have to do with the quadratic equations? Well, why don't we go ahead and find out? So here's a simple one. I'll start off easy. So I'm going to notice here I'm putting some blank space between the f of x and the equals. So I want to complete this square. I'm going to complete this little section right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a parentheses. Notice how I'm starting to set this up. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. Now I'm adding a 36 to an end. So if I'm adding 36 on one side, I need to add 36 to the other side. Remember, always be equal. Algebra, it likes to have equality. So that's nice and dandy, but I want to get back down to where I just have f of x. Because the calculator is not going to allow me to graph f of x plus 36 is equal to x squared plus... The calculator doesn't do that. So you got to move this 36 here back over to the other side, on the side of the parentheses. Positive 36 moved over to the other side becomes negative 36. And there you go. So that would tell me my vertex would be negative 6, negative 36. Almost forgot to put the negative. And that's all you got to do there. So you basically move it over. You divide by 2, square it to get this number. Whatever number you put here, you put over here, and then you got to move it back over. Now keep in mind that parentheses should already be there. Let's look at another example. And let's put a number with it this time. Oh no! Okay, well, first thing you got to do is before you complete the square, you want the x squared and the x by itself. You want this stuff by itself. So I'm going to move negative 12 over to the other side. If it's negative, it becomes positive 12. But I'm still going to leave a blank. Okay, where is my parentheses? Notice that I've already got pluses there. Alright, so what is 16 divided by 2? 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I divide by 2, and then I will square the 8 to get 64. If I'm putting a 64 on the right, I got to put it on the left, and I can combine these two. 12 plus 64 gives me 76. And then that 76 needs to move to the other side which would give me x plus 8 squared minus 76. So I could tell you, without even typing it into the calculator, because imagine trying to graph this, that the vertex here is negative 8, because remember, it's always the opposite of the parentheses, comma, negative 76. And there you go. How about another example, sir? Because I'm not quite catching this. By the way, for the next test, why don't we go ahead and have a magic word for that one? Let's say, what could be a good magic word here? Thanksgiving, because that's our next holiday. So if you show me the word Thanksgiving before I see y'all next time from your notes, then I'll add some points to your next test. Happy joy. Thank you, sir. All right, let's move that 11 over to the other side because we don't want that 11 to be with the x squared minus 10x. So it's a positive 11. Move it to the other side. It's a negative 11. Now I have x squared minus 10x, which means I'm going to put here parentheses. And I actually should have put that square first, but okay, notice the sign here is negative in the middle. I'm going to put a negative there. All right, so what is negative 10 divided by 2? It's negative 5. 5 squared is 25. And I'm going to add 25 to both sides. 25 minus 11 is 14. Positive. Move it back over to the other side, and you've got x minus 5 squared minus 14. Thus, that means the vertex here, if I was asking you for the vertex, would be positive 5, negative 14. And there you go. Alright, so let's do another example, but this time put a number in front of the x squared. Gosh, sir, I'm just now getting this. Now you got to make it more difficult? Yes, I do. Alright. Again, you're going to move the 53 over to the other side. F of x is equal to negative f of x minus 53 plus, and then we're going to leave that blank, equals. Now, again, the x squared has to be by itself, no number in front of it. So I'm going to get rid of the 3 by dividing. So I'm going to put 3 parentheses x squared, and then I'm going to divide the 24 by 3 also. So basically, I'm dividing these two by 3 to get out this 3 here. Okay? So 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. X, and then I'm going to put a blank, and then I'm going to continue 3 parentheses x squared and go from there. Now, negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is positive 16. And then I'm going to put the 16. Now, before I don't put 16 here. Actually, I have to multiply the 16 times 3. Then I move that answer over here. So 16 times 3 is 48. And I combine the negative 53 with the 48, and I will get negative 5, which will move to the other side to give me 3 parentheses x minus 4 squared plus 5. Now you can see this looks very similar to stuff that we just did. And you've got this vertex, which is positive 4, positive 5, and then it would go where it goes. And that's it. Let's do one more example, and then I'm done. So 3x squared minus 12x, another 3. Here we go again. We're going to move the 4 over to the other side. We're going to take out the 3. Notice that when I divide the 12 by 3, you get 4x. And then again, I'm setting up here. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And that's what I wrote over there. 12 plus 4 is 16. And then I would move the 16 over to the other side. It's one of those, if you keep doing the steps, it keeps staying the same, stays the same, stays the same, and it gets easy. So that's complete and square, and this is for the graphing addition. We will have a different one for solving. That's not that different. But here you go, completing the square, graphing addition. That's it for today. Thank you so much. Hope to see y'all, or hope to see y'all show these, Hope to see y'all show me these notes the next day. Y'all take care.